I come to you today at the end of what has been a very long and at times quite painful journey called the Keto Diet. Guys, never let me do anything like this again. I've done a lot of different diets. Vegan twice, Whole30, JJ Virgin diet, Weight Watchers. Keto has been the most unique. The keto diet is basically a incredibly low carb, like extremely low carb, very high fat diet. Basically, you lose weight really fast. Shall we do it by weeks? Let's do it by weeks. Week 1, here's what I look like. Guess what? I did not weigh myself when I started this. Stupid, right? So I really don't know what I started at. I do know that at my wedding, I was 141 pounds. For comparison's sake, we'll say I was 141 pounds when I started. It is now day 3 of me trying keto. And let me just say, it has gone terribly. I got what they call the keto flu really early on. I am definitely suffering from symptoms of what they call keto flu. I was sick, like laying on this couch, shivering and shaking, true flu symptoms from starving my body of carbohydrates. I got into ketosis after about 3 days, and I used the urine strips to test. This is one of the tests that I did. I know this one is a little dark. They usually were more of the medium color. When it's too dark, it means you're dehydrated. I had kind of like mixed reaction on week 1 to the food, because on one hand, I like a lot of like cream-based food. So like mayo, cream cheese, sour cream. On the other hand, I am used to mostly low-fat diets. I mean, sometimes I'll eat, bad, but most days I'm eating a low-fat diet. And so to suddenly shock my body with so much fat, I was nauseous a lot in that first week. I found or realized how much I don't like the smell of cooking butter. The smell of butter is making me sick. The smell of fat is making me sick. To cook all these really rich foods and smell that and then have to eat it and then have to heat it up again the next day and eat it, it was just a lot. I don't want any of the food I cooked. Then week 2, I discovered almond flour, and that was a game changer because I started making almond flour pancakes, which I love. And I was like, oh, I could do this keto thing forever. Well, then I realized that the almond flour was stalling my weight loss. And so I had to pull back like hardcore on that. So week 1, I lost about 2 pounds. So I was about 139. And then when I introduced myself to the almond flour, I got down to about 137 and my weight loss stalled there. And I was kind of like fluctuating between 137 and 138. And this is me in week 2, just to show you a picture. I want to compare the two between week 2 and week 1. You don't see a big difference yet. And so that was that. I also tried working out in week 2. And it was tough. And this is one of the things you'll hear people say all the time. Working out on keto is really not that easy. I think it's because the lack of carbohydrates. You have not powering your body in the same way. And so my workouts were short and they were just not very energetic. Week 3. So after I made my realization that almond flour unfortunately was not my friend and I could not have keto pancakes every morning, I started to lose a little bit more weight. My goal was 135 pounds. In week 3, I got down to 134. And I was really feeling good about the way that I was looking. I liked the results of how I looked. However, I still did not feel very good. Not only was the nausea sticking around, I was getting lightheaded a lot. I didn't lose a ton of weight or that fast, but I got to my goal. And I liked the way that I looked. So in that way, it was a success. The problem for me is that it just was not sustainable in a social world that I live in. On keto, I found myself feeling very restricted. And the other really big part of it for me was that I got tired of eating the same foods. Now, I know a lot of people will probably argue me on this. I'm sorry, I looked through a ton of recipes. I researched a lot, and over again, I kept finding the same foods, and I got tired of eating that stuff. Although the results were there, I needed more variety in my diet, and I probably couldn't do it forever. I also had another realization in week 3. So back in 2013, I started being really intense about eating clean and working out. I ate clean, low carb, low fat, low sugar for about 6 months. And the results were, guess what? Almost the same as the keto diet results. I got down to 134. I looked great. I felt great. So that's what I was kind of like, for some people, keto is like the thing that really, really works for them. I don't think everything is for everybody. And for me, if I can get the same results doing a more inclusive diet, I'm going to choose that. Okay, week 4. So I almost made it to the end, guys, but I went to Louisville, Kentucky for a wedding, and day 1 of the vacation, fine. Day 2, we had a big family dinner, and I jumped head first into a pan of breaded fried chicken wings. And after that, I ate a piece of caramel cake. And then after that, I went and got some margaritas. And then after that, I just opened my mouth and had all of my family members pour sugar just straight down my gullet. I gained back basically all the weight. When I got back from that trip, I was 139 pounds. I regret going so far off the wagon there at the end. I'm not sad about how it ended. Keto was a real hard reset for me. I needed something really restrictive to kind of get my mind back right. And now I am back to the low carb, low sugar, low fat diet. I really would love to hear from anybody that has done keto before and or is still doing it, how it compares to other diets or lifestyles that you've tried, if you've tried any others, because I thought it was interesting for me that the results were so similar to something else that was a little bit more doable for me. So I'm interested to know if anyone else has tried it and tried other things, how it compares to those other lifestyles or diets. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. See ya.